I think we're live now, by the way.
All right, great. Well, let's start again then.
Yeah, this is very inappropriate, very unexpected. I will put on Perfect Wife soon on the screen. Hi, I'm John. Welcome to Legitcast episode 2. We are David with us. And sorry, take it from here as I fix on the camera. Super amateur work. Apologies, and take it from here, David. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Thank you very much, John. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, I'm here to talk about A Perfect Wife, which is a tabletop RPG zine for ZineQuest and Zine Month, written by ZXU and with art by ZXU and Amanda Lee Frank and Scrap World, who some people might know as Scrap Princess, who have got together to effectively do a fundraiser to try and get all the people involved, all three of them. They're all around the world. So Scrap's in New Zealand, Amanda is in Chicago, and Zedek is in Malaysia, to try and get them all to the UK for an art exhibition where we're showing a whole bunch of art and games by people in the tabletop roleplay community in Nottingham. So it's both, by supporting the Kickstarter, you're getting a nice zine, and you can also pledge to get extra kind of actually unique artworks by Zedek or Amanda. But for us, we'll get to make the zine and also get to meet up and actually be together in the same space. Which these are people that have worked together for years and years. So I think Zedek's first worked with Scrap a long time ago, and same with Amanda. Like they kind of all admire each other from afar. So just the idea of creating this kind of mega mashup in real life was so enticing. We had to do a fundraiser, and so we got this together. Zedek had the bones of the adventure together, and then Amanda suggested we do a crowdfunder, and Scrap was well up for it. So I agreed to produce it and do the layout. I do layout for all my own zines and for the recent Eco Mofos book. I think as a team we're gonna produce a really nice little zine. Probably it says on the page 24 page, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit longer than that. And it's also going to come with a isometric map that Zedek is producing, and 2 prints, one by Amanda, one by Scrap, that you can put on the mantelpiece or something, and kind of show how cool you are with nice prints to go along with your zine. And then if you're in the UK, which I'm sure lots of people aren't, you'll be able to come along on March the 22nd and actually hear everyone talk in real life and meet them and say hello and talk about zine making, which is just a fantastic thing.
It is actually. So you have like your superhero team up, how you call it, like your group of Avengers here with so you said
basically
you're gonna meet together. I suppose you're gonna have time to play like a one shot of Perfect Wife or something.
Oh yeah, that's probably what we'll end up doing that evening. We're gonna we'll kind of be around most of that week, getting the show ready. So I think we'll have time to play a few games while they're here, and then on the day there's going to be talks, there's going to be games, there's going to be a zine fair. People like Melisonian Arts Council who are also in the exhibition are going to have a stall. It's going to be great, and also highlighting stuff like some of the miniature makers who live in the Nottingham area, Ramshackle Games and people. So it's going to be a real kind of festival of gaming. But excited about it, and excited that the Kickstarter's going reasonably well. We've managed to get we've funded, but what we're really hoping for is to get enough to pay for all of the flights for everyone, and for that we need just a little bit more. We've said on the page it says £5,000, which is about right, I think. Once you take into account having to print the zines and all that stuff.
My screen shows the euro amount because my account is on euro. So
right,
don't worry about that. So horror RPGs, in my experience, are perfect almost for one shots.
Oh yeah.
Or rather, they work better maybe most times in short stories, especially one-shots. I think is the best genre to play in a one-shot setting. Do you have like can you describe me what a session of Perfect Wife could be through the points of the GM of your GM? Like what's the setup? What you can do to your players to scare them, I suppose.
I suppose really the setup is one of mystery. So it's creating, really it's setting the scene of the space, and really having the players have very little awareness of what kind of horror is going to occur, and then kind of them discovering this strangeness. And it's a bit like a Call of Cthulhu type adventure. It's sort of you investigate the weirdness, and then that becomes it kind of the horror emerges from that situation. So that's I think that's often the best way to encounter that. And I think you're totally right about horror being best as one-shots, because you want that threat of no one is safe and no one's necessarily getting out of here alive. So it's it needs that kind of fragility of the one-shot.
And also it's very hard to commit long-term to a campaign that can kill you at any moment. It's hard to invest emotionally in a character that knows. But that's the fun of playing such games, as you mentioned, Call of Cthulhu and many other horror games. So do you have like a mechanic that's tied to the horror element of Perfect Wife?
It's mostly just done through. We're working with both the Liminal Horror engine and also trying to make a conversion for Lost Bay as well. But so it will work with those mechanics, but it is essentially system neutral, and it's mostly through the evocative writing. I mean, Zedek is one of the best writers in the business, in my opinion. Him and Luke Gearing are just absolute idols of mine. So I'm kind of like really pleased to be part of this project.
Sorry, I just changed the name. You're not Laura. Everybody, this is David. Laura was a previous guest. And now I have the right name. And apologies.
Excellent.
I will post your the links to your campaign, to the full YouTube video and shorts and other content. Yeah, for our live audience, although it's really limited, don't worry about that. I'm focusing that I will spread the attention and the love in the appropriate mediums. But I want to do this live in case we have like for example, XX Neil X says interesting art style, and indeed it is. It is the first thing that draws everyone attention.
So like Scrap has a really kind of like I kind of liken it to like expressionistic art in some ways. It's
Do you know what is the vibe that comes to my head? I want you to tell me if that was the thing that you were going for. It's like I've seen like in the demonic child in many movies that paint something cryptic, but that's very horrific, that's very wrong. This is the vibe that this one gives me. Like
no, that's totally what Scrap is able to do. Amanda's work is kind of more restrained, refined, but also very creepy. I don't know what's on the page. You can see a little bit on the kind of the top screen, the bit that's covering the video. There's that girl on the left-hand side, and she's looking in a mirror.
I press play. So now Kickstarter will never allow me to see the thumbnail again. No, it's gone.
You can see a little bit on that kind of preview of the one of the layouts. It's like kind of and she's got her hand being twisted, but she's about to turn into the Pontiac and have her evil way with him. So that's.
So we talked earlier with Laura about sleep deprivation and how it's a thing for us zinequesters. Cool. I suppose for all Kickstarter campaigns, but especially maybe for us zinequesters, because we have a time limit. They don't really say you have to do it in February. If you don't, it's not zinequest anymore. So how was you and the sleep cycles, and generally, are you taking care of yourself, David?
I'm trying. I mean, we only launched, what is it, yesterday? So I did manage to sleep last night, which I was impressed by. The last Kickstarter that I did, which was for my previous game, Eco Mofos, I was often waking up at night and checking how it was going and everything. But I think because I'm kind of producing this and it's not like my zine, that I'm not the
Yeah.
writer of it. It's not my art. I don't feel kind of quite as like anxious in the same way, but I really want this to happen. So I'm just happy that some people are finding it interesting.
No, I think it
Yeah.
was like one of the talks of this year's zinequest with the more interesting designs, and I think it started way very well. So I'm not exactly sure about the length of these interviews. We talked about that. We also
Oh, right,
have,
yeah.
but let's. What else do you feel like you would like to share about your experience with Perfect Wife and this zinequest?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I've got from it is just that sense of community that's around the tabletop role play space. The idea that people can just come together and have an idea, and things can be produced in just through a lot of just hard work and willingness. Like I just think it's lovely that people can be creative together, and there's such an openness. I mean, I my day job is being an artist in the sort of what you'd call the art world. And it's very difficult to find that kind of feeling there, I think, because it's much more, people are much more anxious about how they're seen or whatever. But in tabletop, I just love the fact that people come together to do stuff. And really, it's about collaborative activity. It's living in shared worlds and then, making shared worlds. And I think that's great.
I think that's very well said. That's the whole thing, that you get a chance to create something that's not like scripted or programmed under a certain box, and you can express yourself and your group. And I think much like with you and me and everybody who has played TTRPGs, like after a couple of bad first sessions probably, that you find stuff about yourself during those games and about the other people around you, but in the world general. And I'm not don't mean like the Boots of Escape or like Fireball Wand or stuff like that. I'm like discover more important things.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it is a path to self-knowledge, for want of a better term. Really, it's quite a unique space. It's a kind of it's a space to let your subconscious become part of kind of a group consciousness in a weird way. So yeah.
Do you believe that
fun times?
We TTRPG players live more lives than others in a single lifespan?
I think that's probably very true. I think I think we get a lot from listening to stories, from watching films and kind of reading books and things. But I think being part of something, when you're actually forming memories with people, where as you kind of create these stories together, they're really powerful. Like I kind of remember instances in my group's games from years ago, and I don't remember what happened last week. Like it's kind of that weird thing that they become really intense moments of kind of I don't know, shared hope and despair. So yeah.
That's very well said. I mean, through your TTRPG experiences, have you what's like one that strikes out to you that kinda improved your life in this way or another?
Oh wow. I'm not to put too much of a downer on it, but I think it was really essential during lockdown. Like just that feeling of like feeling utterly isolated. I mean, I have my family around me and stuff, but when just that feeling of being able to just escape into a whole different place and be there with other people and feel feel that sense of their relief at kind of having a connection. And I think there was also that amazing thing that like you could just hang out with people for a few hours and not have to come up with conversation, because it's like, you know, you're playing a game and you have
actually,
the structure and
I
you're playing you're playing a role.
Yeah, personally, as the forever GM of my group, find it like no small talk. We didn't come for here. We don't have time for small talk. Don't talk to me about your job. Find someone else to do that.
Yeah.
this is important. We get together to have something fun. Yeah, because I think it is important to use this escapism, but also to express ourselves artistically and discover what's there to be found, really.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
So are you like the GM or more so the player of your play group?
Almost always the GM. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So you know the curse.
I think. I know, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think most people who are writers in this space come from there, because it's a small step from like writing your own campaign or writing.
I guess it's
preparing your next day.
Yeah, the next logical step.
It just sort of formalizes it, and you know, how do you help other people run this rather than just yourself and stuff like so. Yeah, a lot of my work comes from thinking about kind of just following like how. What are the things I'd want as a GM? And quite often that's like to have to prep as little as possible. So like that's generally how I write tabletop roleplay, is to try and help people to be able to just play almost with no preparation at all, which is always a bit of a trial, but it's worth going for, I think.
I think so too. You mentioned before COVID and how it helped you during those times, as it helped many of us, including myself, more so in creating rather than playing. But during COVID, we essentially discovered virtual tabletop platform play. And I would like to ask you if during COVID, you were lucky enough to have like some friends that we can find each other like close enough, or was it for you also the time where you started playing online, or are you playing online much at all?
Yeah, I mean, it was always online during COVID times. I even did. I never did the virtual tabletop thing, but I did like set up the minis in my space, and then kind of have a separate camera. I had a separate Zoom going to like a phone that was set up as like the tabletop thing, so I could kind of move the minis around and stuff. It was that was a lot of fun.
This is like a very, very peculiar hybrid form of play, because it's neither VTT but neither traditional play. Yeah. So just pick a side.
Yeah, exactly. You could get some really good angles and stuff. It like it was fun. Yeah. Very silly.
Okay, I'm really not sure. Are you having time? Are you having fun? Can we get this like a few questions in, maybe squeeze? It's not that I have anything in mind, but let's find something from your page. Let's go to the stretch goals, since you are entering the realm of stretch goals. Actually, have you already got like the second one? I think you did, right? Or is it 5,000 euros?
No, not
it's
quite. Not quite. It's 5,000 pounds.
Euros, a different currency, but I think you will be close.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get there. Then
let's talk about this and future goals. Yeah,
happy and secure. Yeah, I mean, really, it's going to be things like we made the list actually. I'll just get that up 1 second. No, not that one.
3-0. I saw your question. It will come right up after we discuss these stretch goals. Since we have a bit of a questions, I will ask them all.
Yeah, and essentially it's going to be things like additional art for the zine, just commissioning extra works from Scrap and Amanda, and also Zedek is as well as being a great tabletop writer, he's also a great like blogger and essayist, and he's going to run. One of the stretch goals is writing an essay about how to run Southeast Asian horror. So that's kind of more of a blog thing, and also writing about the history of the Pontignac, so that there's more kind of depth there. I think that'll add probably a couple of pages to the zine, so that you have all that background as well as the adventure itself.
That sounds interesting, very interesting. So you mentioned
Super
like
academic, I know.
Asian horror
Yeah.
films, and it's a good transition to the question from the audience as they ask that what are the influences and references behind this game?
Yeah, it's very much like, I mean, I'm for me, it's things like The Ring, and but then also very, I know it's ZX Zine, so ZX has investigated Malaysian folklore quite extensively in his past works, like Lawn Song of the Bachelor, Reach of the Roach God, and but I think here he's really kind of tapping into almost more urban legend and films from like the 50s, like films that I haven't seen, but I think there's quite a kind of there's quite a history in Malaysia of these sorts of kind of horror tropes. So yeah, if you know that stuff, then you'll know this.
I think if I had time to prepare a little bit more, I would have like more interesting questions. But I do think I have one more good one in me left.
Okay, great.
So I personally had a lot of really terrifying horror experiences in playing the RPG, and I mean this in a good way. To clarify, speaking of which, the person that asked the question, we have played together actually, and we shared one of those really spooky experiences, and there are many, from Elite RPG to our own, to many stuff. I would like to hear your most terrifying horror experience, one that actually, you're throwing dice one moment and the other said, maybe guys, I'm gonna have a break, I'm really afraid, like pausing a movie, something like it.
Yeah, it's often that kind of the spookiness sort of creeps up on you in some way. There was a really great one actually that I did, which was a Call of Cthulhu adventure set in a kind of isolated Arctic research station, and it kind of starts off sort of normal, but then like there's this big accident with a pulley and like some weird residue, and then you look at the residue, and the GM had prepared like what was on the slides when you kind of were looking under a microscope and stuff, and it showed like there was something kind of weirdly like manufactured about it. And it was just, there was something really creepy about that realization. I think that's what that kind of cosmic horror is really good at, is sort of turning something that feels really mundane and suddenly turning it around. It's like making you feel kind of almost queasy. I like and I got that feeling a lot from Philip K. Dick's Ubik. I don't know if you've read that,
Philip
but
K.
it's
I
like,
don't remember this one, but I've read lots of his works. It's one of my favorite sci-fi artists.
So Ubik's the one where objects keep degenerating, so going to previous versions of themselves. So like an electric kettle will go to like a kettle that you'll put on a stove, which will go into like turn into a pot. like it's kind of degenerating in time. And there was something about that just made me feel really unsettled. And there's two instances.
I think you bring an interesting topic. Generally, movies, some tropes that work in movies, such as the jump scare, doesn't really work with RPGs. You cannot like at the gym, scare your players while playing. It's not the way to do it. So it has to be sophisticated, not sophisticated. What's the word? Like mental, I suppose. Like has to be. It has
psychological.
Psychological, I think was the word I was looking for. It has to be psychological. And so it brings, it's a challenge. I think it's more challenging maybe to pull off a purely narrative horror scene and make it work for the others. And
but I think when it does work, it's you feel it all around the table, and it's so good. So I think that's why people keep doing it. It's like to kind of chase that high of being able to, like that that magic moment when it does actually like kind of really hit.
One of my favorite
It's
such
hard,
moments.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
one of my favorite such moments is that it really kind of scared myself. I don't know how this works, but it was like an improv idea that I was about to pull off the players, like a strange visual when they're walking the mist. I don't know, and and I was like, I'm not sure that I want to narrate that. You know, I don't want to be afraid from what that. So it's fun to
Yeah.
try to find creative ways to scare the psyche of your friends playing around the table.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's playing with a lot of kind of like stereotypes, I guess, but really it's just tapping into quite primal fears, essentially, like, you know, about reality, like, you know, the nature of reality, but also yeah, kind of ideas of trust, like, can you trust either your senses or the people
Oh,
around you?
never thought about
You know,
this. Interesting. Yeah, trust is a big
those
thing.
sorts of those sorts of things are really fundamental to horror, I think. So yeah, and that's something that this zine, I think, plays with quite well. Yeah.
It was. I think I'm gonna shut this down in like 10 minutes. We don't have we don't need to press about it. I would
Sure.
like you to give like a message, if you have, to the backers already trusting you about this ride, and you know what you have to share with them.
It's gonna be pretty straightforward. You know, it's all written. I don't know if you've seen, but the main text is shared on a blog post, which is on the zine page, which is under preview. So yeah, it's kind of a pamphlet length version. So then that's just going to be being expanded. I think ZX pretty much finished that text. Amanda and Scrap have done all the art that's necessary for the zine. Obviously, if the stretch goals happen, then they'll do some more. And then I have to do the layout. So really, the logjam is me doing the layout. But it's beautiful work and lovely words. So I don't think it'll be. We're looking to have it all wrapped up by September. So yeah, it should be pretty straightforward. We're excited about the process.
That's a very, very good turnaround, and
Yeah,
I think this is gonna go really well and can make you all happy. So and produce
I hope
also
so.
many entertaining, not happy experiences, if you know what I'm talking about. Entertaining,
That's the aim.
scary
Yeah.
experiences. And
Yeah.
yeah, as for the content of this
Yeah.
show, obviously I had no time to prep and to post it prior, but I will do after. I will create a nice shorts and spread it around. And the next one will also
That'd
include
be great,
music,
yeah.
a bit of a better like interface, interplay, overlay, how it's called. So apologies for the maturity of it, immaturity.
Oh no, it's been great. No, thanks so much for having me on. Really
Thank you
enjoyed
so
it.
much that we talked about TTRPG horror games and Perfect Wife. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you next one is tomorrow, I believe. I'm your host and editor, John. Stay legit, everyone.